Thank you very much to Quiss. Quiss have been with us now for about 18 months, 2 years. Huge support. We're doing quite a lot of webinars with David and the team. They've been really popular. David and the team are also involved in Bristol and Bath Legal Tech, and in particular the We Are Legal Tech conference, which is also coming up on the 13th of May. So again, they're going to be speaking at that and sharing some of their wisdom there. So please do come and say hi at that, and do take a look on the website in terms of they've got a specific page and we share all the information and webinars that we've done with them so far. So there's a vast amount of information there. And again, if you want to talk to them after this session on any issues that you're experiencing, then I know they're going to be really delighted to have a chat with you. And so we'll share the details as well when we follow up afterwards. But that's, I think, enough from me. But very much very pleased to have you, David, and I'll hand over to you now. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Helen. Thank you, Claire. Afternoon, everybody. This presentation is going to be about 40 minutes, so I recognise time is valuable for everybody. As Helen's just said, my name's Dave Ricketts. I work for an organisation called Quiss. We've been working exclusively with law firms on their technology since 2004. That is the only reason I'm in front of you today, because the legal sector is all that we do. And the intelligence I'm going to share with you comes directly from the market data that shapes our work. This briefing is called a strategic edge, and that title is deliberate. Firms that will lead this market in 2030 are making decisions right now in 2026 that their competitors are deferring. And I want to show you what those decisions are, why they matter, and what the maths looks like when you do them and when you do not do them. We have, as I said, 40 minutes, and I will be moving fairly quickly through the content. If you could hold any questions to the end, we've already got 3, so that's fantastic, but any more, I'll endeavour to answer them at the end. If not, we can take them offline. So let's get into it. So what we'll cover today, today's agenda. Here's what we're going to cover. 5 sections, 4 of which deal with specific forces reshaping the market as we stand today, and the 5th that pulls everything together. I want to flag something important about the structure before we start. These are not 4 separate problems requiring 4 separate budgets and 4 separate strategy conversations. They are 4 expressions of the same underlying dynamic, and there is one integrated response to all of them. That is the conclusion, hopefully, we are building towards at the end. The sections are timed, but I have built some flexibility in. Let me start with something that should feel contradictory. In 2025, mid-market law firms like the ones represented on this call, achieved a 12% median fee income increase. This is a remarkable number. In professional services sectors, a 12% revenue growth would be cause for genuine celebration. And yet the gap between revenue and profitability grows ever widening. Partners are working harder, billing more, winning more clients, and finding that the profit per partner is not moving in proportion. Something is consuming that gap. At the same time, look at the middle number, 50 to 63% of chargeable time. That is the industry average utilisation rate from this year's MHA benchmarking report. In the 40-hour week, the average fee earner is billing for somewhere between 20 and 25 of those hours. The rest, 15 to 20 hours every week, is consumed by everything except client work. For a 50-lawyer firm, where the average billing rate is £250 an hour, that represents £9.75 million in annual opportunity cost. Not theoretical revenue, recurring, preventable leakage. 4 forces are driving this divergence. Let's have a look at each one, starting with the one that is hiding in plain sight. The hidden crisis in chargeable time. I use the word crisis deliberately. It is not a performance management problem. It is not a motivation problem. It is a systems and process problem, and it is costing your firm money every single day. Take a 40-hour work week. On average, a fee earner in a mid-market firm charges for about 23 of these hours. Not because they are not working hard, they almost certainly are, but because the remaining 17 hours are being consumed by things that have nothing to do with advising clients. The 2025 MHA benchmarking report identifies 5 systematic drains. First, administrative burden and data re-entry. In high volume practice areas, conveyancing, obvious example, fee earners routinely enter the same client information into 4 or 5 separate systems: case management, accountancy, CRM, document management, etc. Every single matter. This is not a minor inconvenience. It is a structural inefficiency built into the architecture of most mid-market firms. The second one, information location. With matter files scattered across email, shared drives, document repositories, and individual desktops, the average fee earner spends 47 minutes a day simply finding things. That is nearly 200 hours a year per person spent searching rather than advising. The third issue, system performance. Legacy infrastructure means lawyers are waiting for screens to load, documents to open, searches to complete. Each delay is 10 to 15 seconds. Across thousands of interactions a day, those micro delays compound into micro losses. Fourth, software fragmentation. Mid-market firms typically operate 8 to 12 discrete platforms that do not communicate effectively. Research consistently shows that context switching between applications reduces productivity by up to 40% during task transitions. 8 to 12 switches dozens of times a day. Finally, remote working friction. 68% of client interactions now happen outside of traditional office hours. Many mid-market firms still require VPN connections, desktop-only application access, or complex workarounds to work remotely. This creates friction at precisely the moment where responsiveness creates competitive advantage. How many of these 5 do you recognize as a firm? Do you need to answer out loud? I don't need you to answer out loud, but I want these questions to be hanging in the room. The maths. Let me show you some numbers. What a modest improvement looks like in financial terms, and I stress a modest one. I'm not talking about transforming your firm overnight. I'm talking about recovering 30 minutes of billable time per day per fee earner. The RBS benchmark puts current chargeable hours at just over 1,000 per lawyer per year. A 10% improvement adds 101 hours annually per fee earner, at an average billing rate of £250 per hour, which for many of your practices will be conservative. That is £25,250 of additional billable capacity per lawyer. Across a 50-lawyer firm, it soon mounts up. At typical law firm contribution margins, 65 to 70% after direct matter cost, that translates to between £820,000 and £880,000 flowing directly to profit without hiring a single additional person, without winning another single additional client. To put it another way, it is the profit equivalent of adding 5 fee earners without the recruitment salary or overhead costs. And here is the compounding effect. A firm achieving 10% annual productivity gains for 3 consecutive years moves from 55% to 73% chargeable time utilization. That is the difference between median performance and top quartile in 3 years through operational improvements only. There are now 2 types of firm. There are the high-performing firms, those that are achieving 65% or more chargeable time. They share a common characteristics: integrated technology platforms, standardized document processing, mobile-enabled, cloud-first workflows, automated time capture, and regular time technology refreshes. The struggling firms, on the other hand, share a different set of characteristics. They are fragmented, unintegrated software. They have high dependencies on manual processes. Their legacy infrastructure is creating performance bottlenecks. They have inconsistent approaches varying by individual fee earner preference, and they have deferred technology investments creating accumulated technical debt. Now here is the part that should concern you most. The performance gap between these two groups is not static, it is widening. High-performing firms are taking the profit gains from better productivity and reinvesting them in future optimization. Struggling firms face a vicious cycle. Poor profitability constrains investment, which constrains profitability. The firms that fall behind face an increasingly difficult choice. Make dramatic catch-up investments from a weakened profit position or accept permanent relegation to commodity work. That is the productivity paradox, and it is the foundation of every other challenge we are going to talk about today, because the same technology investment that solves this problem also addresses the three forces that follow. I'm going to now move on to the second force. AI, the implementation gap. I want to be really careful about how I frame AI in this briefing because there is a lot of noise in this space, and I think the noise has done real damage. I'm not going to tell you that AI will transform everything. I'm going to show you I'm not going to show you impressive demos. I'm going to show you data about what is actually happening in law firms right now and what it means for yours. The PwC Law Firm Survey from 2025 contains two numbers that, when placed side by side, define the competitive challenge facing mid-market firms on AI. 56% of top 50 firms report successfully monetizing AI capabilities. They have moved beyond pilots. They are generating measurable returns on their AI investments. 0% of firms in the top 51 to 100 segment has achieved clear, measurable AI ROI from their investments. That is 0. Not 5%, not 10, 0. Every firm in that segment that has invested in AI has, by this measure, failed to generate measurable return. And before you think that is a reason to avoid AI investment, let me be precise about what that number actually means. It does not mean that AI does not work. It means that 95% of legal AI pilots fail to deliver measurable value when approached in the wrong way. The technology is not the problem. The implementation approach is the problem. Let me show you what that means. Research across the mid-market identifies 4 recurring barriers. These are not theoretical obstacles. They are the reasons AI pilots are failing right now in firms that are very similar to yours. Barrier 1, the data foundation problem. AI systems are only as intelligent as the data they process. Most mid-market firms have accumulated decades of inconsistently named files, incomplete matter records, legacy documents in formats modern AI cannot effectively process, and minimal metadata tagging. The AI works brilliant in vendor demonstrations because vendor data is clean. It fails in your firm because your data is not. The problem is not the AI, it is the underlying data architecture. Barrier number 2, the security and regulatory paradox. The most powerful and cost-effective AI tools operate in public cloud environments using shared models. For a law firm handling confidential client information, professional privilege and regulatory obligations under SRA guidelines and GDPR, using public language models creates unacceptable risk. But deploying private secure AI environments requires technical capability and investment levels many mid-market firms struggle to justify. Firms are caught between regulatory caution and competitive necessity. The third barrier, integration failures. An AI tool that operates as a standard application requiring manual data export, separate processing, manual re-entry of results does not solve inefficiency. It creates new inefficiency. Without deep integration into your practice management system, even excellent AI suffers low adoption and minimal impact. Barrier number 4, skills and change management gaps. Here is the one surprise for most people. The firms showing early AI success have invested as heavily in change management and training as they have in the technology itself. Champions identified within each practice group, continuous training rather than one-time onboarding, and clear success metrics communicated regularly. This is a resource commitment that most mid-market AI projects underestimate, sometimes fatally. These 4 barriers explain the 0% ROI figure. They are also the 4 things that the successful firms have systematically solved. Where are we? I want to have a balanced approach here because AI is genuinely delivering value in specific, well-defined applications. I just want to be honest about what value means at this stage. Contract reviews and analysis, as in highlighted in the top box there, the AI-powered platforms can analyze standard agreements 75 to 85% faster than manual review, achieving a 94% accuracy on clause identification and risk flagging in independent testing. For NDA review in particular, some firms have taken turnaround times from hours to minutes. The critical qualifier, this applies to routine agreements. AI augments rather than replaces lawyer judgment on complex or unusual contracts. Legal research. AI tools are accelerating research, not replacing it. Users report reclaiming 1 to 5 hours weekly on research-intensive matters. The honest caveat, leading legal research AI platforms still produce incorrect information 17 to 33% of the time. These tools are, however, a starting point, not a definitive resource. Document automation. Intelligent document automation goes well beyond mail merge, suggesting relevant clauses based on matter context, flagging unusual terms, learning from lawyer edits. Implementation times of 6 to 12 months are typical to achieve full value. Client communication and triage. AI portals and chatbots handle routine queries and route complex matters to appropriate fee earners. The important caution here, poor AI client experiences damage relationships more than no AI at all. Please scope carefully and maintain clear human escalation paths. The Bloomberg's Law Survey confirmed in 2025 that actual AI impact has fallen short of 2024 predictions across every operational category. I think this is worth saying explicitly. The hype was ahead of the reality, but the reality is still meaningful and it is growing. So what does success look like? So what separates achieving AI ROI from the 95% whose pilots fail are 5 disciplines. Number 1, foundation. 3 to 6 months of unglamorous infrastructure work, data remediation, system integration, security architecture before you deploy a single AI tool. Firms that skip this phase discover that expensive technology delivers 0 return because the foundations do not support it. Specific use cases. AI-powered NDA review rather than an AI transformation, narrow, well-defined targets where success is measurable. Early wins create the organization momentum that makes broader implementation possible. Security and compliance by design. Private cloud deployments with clear data governance from day one. Your clients are already asking about your AI security protocols. Inadequate answers are removing firms from panel considerations. Sustained change management. This is an organizational change initiative, not an IT project. MIT research confirms that organizations partnering with external AI implementation experts achieve significantly higher success rates than those that are going it alone. Realistic timelines. 12 to 18 months from initial planning to measurable ROI. Small focused pilots may show results in 3 to 4 months. Enterprise deployments require longer. Firms expecting rapidly transformation experiences disappointment and abandonment. It's massively important that you give these things enough time. The firms that succeed with AI are not the largest or the most technically sophisticated. They are the ones that follow this sequence with discipline. Let's move on to the third force. The cyber arms race. Law firms are prime targets. I need to be direct with you about this section. The data in the public domain is alarming. I'm not sharing it to frighten you. I'm sharing it because the firms that understand the actual threat environment make better decisions than the firms that treat cybersecurity as a compliance checkbox. In 2023 to 2024, successful cyber attacks targeting UK law firms increased by 77%, from 538 confirmed incidences to 954. That is not a blip, that is a structural trend. According to the National Cyber Security Centre, 3/4 of the UK's top 100 law firms have been impacted by cyber attacks. Mid-market firms face even higher vulnerability because they hold comparable data value with significantly less sophisticated defences. 84% of successful breaches come through phishing. Specifically, 41% of law firms' security incidents are caused by a member of staff clicking a malicious email, not an exotic zero-day exploit, an email that looks legitimate. And perhaps the most troubling, 65% of UK law firms have experienced a cyber event, yet 35% still operate without cyber mitigation plan and 72% lack cyber insurance. I'm going to ask you to do something uncomfortable for a moment here. If you're on the call and your firm does not have a current tested incident response, please note that down. Not because I'm going to ask you to raise your hand, ask you any questions, but because by the end of this section, I want you to have a reason to act on this one area. The reality is this: if you are a 30 to 100 lawyer firm handling commercial, real estate or private client work, criminal organisations are actively targeting your firm now. The question is not whether an attack will be attempted, it is whether your defences will hold when it comes. The average ransom demand against UK law firms in 2024 was £47,000. That sounds like a significant but survivable number. It is not the number that should concern you. The total cost of a successful breach, including a ransom if paid, forensic investigation and remediation, legal and regulatory response, lost billable time during recovery, and ICO fines, runs between £230,000 and £900,000 per mid-market firm. And that is before the strategic damage, reputational harm that makes panel appointment impossible for 12 to 24 months, SRA investigations, professional indemnity claims from clients whose data was compromised, and staff attrition as key lawyers leave during the crisis. Here is the recovery timeline reality that most firms do not appreciate until they are living through it. Most UK law firms affected by a sophisticated ransomware require between 3 to 8 weeks to restore full operations, even when they pay the ransom. 3 to 8 weeks in which the firm operates in crisis mode, reconsulting client files from paper records, manual processing, urgent matters, explaining delays to frustrated clients, watching new business opportunities evaporate, etc., etc. For firms operating on 25 to 30% profit margins, a significant breach can eliminate 1 to 3 years of partner profit. Some firms never fully recover their market position. The ICO has been explicit on one point that is worth sharing directly. The Information Commissioner has explicitly rejected the defence that we are a small firm with limited resources. The sensitivity of data held, not firm size, determines duty of care. Let me show you specifically why mid-market firms are targeted so effectively. Criminal organisations have a phrase for mid-market law firms. They call them the sweet spot. Maximum data value, minimum defensive capability. Your firm holds extraordinary concentrations of sensitive information, merger and acquisition details, intellectual property, personal financial records, litigation strategy, compromising personal information on high net worth individuals. This data commands premium prices on criminal marketplaces or enables lucrative blackmail schemes. At the same time, the common vulnerabilities in the 30 to 100 lawyer segment are well known, well documented and well exploited. Ransomware groups have developed law firm playbooks, repeatable attack sequences that exploit consistent patterns. Microsoft 365 environments, remotely accessible case management systems, email-heavy workflows, and staff trained in law rather than cybersecurity. The specific vulnerabilities, no dedicated IT security personnel, legacy case management platforms with known unpatched vulnerabilities, partners with administrative privileges and shared passwords, and no multi-factor authentication on critical systems, backups that are stored on the same networks as production data, meaning ransomware encrypts both simultaneously, annual compliance training rather than ongoing phishing simulations, and no incident response plan. The firms that are successfully defending against the 77% attack surge share these following characteristics. Dedicated security budgets of 0.6 to 0.9% of revenue, regular third-party security assessments, zero trust network architecture, offline backup replication, and quarterly tabletop exercises of incident response plans. Investing £50,000 to £75,000 annually in property security is expensive until you compare it to the £230,000 to £900,000 cost of a successful breach. This is not a close calculation. Let us now look at the fourth and final force, and perhaps the one that is most visibly reshaping the competitive landscape today. Private equity investment is permanently reshaping the mid-market as we know it. Whether you are interested in external capital or not, the PE wave is changing the competitive environment you operate in, and the latest data tells us we are now entering what many analysts expect to be the most active period yet. The slides show the 2024 numbers, and they are striking. £534 million invested in UK mid-market law firms in a single year, a 42% increase on 2023, over £1.2 billion across the 5 years to 2024. But I want to bring you right up to date because the picture has moved on since those numbers were published. PwC's UK Legal Service Market Report, published in the summer 25, confirmed that 24 was a record year for private equity-backed legal platform deals. 2025 was described as more measured. Mid-market PE deal volumes were already 7% lower than exceptional peak 24 peak, but activity absolutely continued. In 2025 alone, we saw LDC investing in Harper James, August Equity investing in Higgs, and Lawfront completing further acquisitions with Bratchers and Trethowens. These are not small, speculative moves. These are established PE houses backing regional firms with national growth ambitions. And here is why 2026 is the number to watch. UK private equity dry powder, which is uninvested committed capital sitting ready to deploy, has reached a record £190 billion at the end of 2025, according to British Venture Capital Association. Grant Thornton's latest PE Pulse survey found that over 2/3 of UK PE firms plan to increase investment levels in 26. KPMG's analysis confirms that business services, specifically legal and accountancy firm acquisitions, remain one of the most active sectors. The structural logic has not changed. 70% of mid-market firms have been approached by investors. The deal flow slowed slightly in 2025 as macro conditions tightened, but the capital is there, the appetite is there, and the structural conditions opportunity is there. The analysts who called 2024 a watershed year are now asking whether 26 is when the next wave will break. There is also a new structural tailwind worth flagging. The UK's government Mansion House reforms are targeting up to £50 billion of direct contribution pension investment into private assets by 2030. When that capital begins flowing, professional services firms, including law firms, are among the most natural beneficiaries. The investment environment for this sector is becoming structurally more favourable, not less. Whether or not you are interested in PE investment personally, the competitive implications are real and immediate. PE-backed platforms are making lateral partner offers are guaranteed salaries that traditional partnership draws cannot match. They are resetting client expectations for the responsiveness and cost competitiveness, and they are acquiring at a pace that is reshaping the regional market faster than organic growth ever could. Here is something that might seem counterintuitive. Firms with strong technology infrastructure receive premium valuations from PE investors, even though those same investors plan to make significant further technology investment post-acquisition. The reason is that modern technology platform demonstrates management capability and operational discipline. Legacy technology signals the opposite, operational weakness that goes beyond the systems themselves. Investors are not just buying your revenue, they are buying your ability to scale. Legacy infrastructure tells them that scaling will be expensive and slow. The value impact is material. Firms achieving premium valuations, typically 15 to 25% above sector median multiples, exhibit modern, integrated technology infrastructure, documented standardized processes, real-time management dashboards, Cyber Essentials Plus or ISO 27001 certification, and scalable platforms requiring minimal post-acquisition transformation. Firms receiving discounted offers, typically 20 to 30% below sector median multiples, have legacy technology requiring significant remediation, fragmented systems creating integration risk, manual inconsistent processes, security vulnerabilities requiring immediate attention, and key person dependencies. For a firm generating £10 million in annual revenue, that difference represents £3 to £6 million in transaction value. That is not a rounding error. It exceeds the total cost of the technology modernization that would have commanded a premium valuation in the first place. One more point. The 2025 data reinforces, with PE dry powder at record levels and investors under pressure to deploy capital, the bar for what constitutes a quality asset is rising, not falling. Investors have more choice. Firms that have deferred technology investment are now just leaving money on the table. They are progressively falling out of the investment universe entirely. And here is the critical insight. This business case applies when you are pursuing external capital or not. The operational characteristics that generate premium valuations are identical to the operational characteristics that drive competitive success as an independent firm. The PE wave creates three viable strategic paths for mid-market firms, and I want to be clear that all three are genuinely viable. The right choice depends entirely on your firm's circumstances, ambitions, and partnership dynamics. Option 1. Seek PE investment. 21% of UK leading law firms are actively considering this route to fund growth, reward retiring partners, or invest in transformation that current partnership economics does not support. With record PE dry powder looking for deployment and the Mansion House reforms expanding the institutional capital available, the window for attractive terms may be wider right now than it will be in 2 to 3 years as the sector consolidates further. Option 2, strategic acquisitions. 17% of firms are planning acquisitions in the next 12 months, choosing to compete in PE-backed platforms through self-directed consolidation. The 2025 data shows buy and build accounting for over 56% of European PE deals by count. That discipline is available to partnership-funded acquirers too, and it is how independent firms can match the growth and pace of PE-backed competitors without ceding ownership. Option 3, fierce independence. Remaining committed to the partnership model while investing in operational excellence to compete effectively. The 2025 mid-market showed significant resilience, and the firms that performed best were those with recurring revenues, operational efficiencies, and strong client retention. Those are characteristics built through technology investment, not despite it. All three paths require the same foundation: modern, integrated technology, secure infrastructure, documented processes, strong management information. These are not PE requirements or acquisition requirements, they are competitive requirements. They are what it takes to win in this market, regardless of ownership structure. I'm going to try and pull everything together now because the most important insight of this entire briefing is now going to take shape. The UK mid-market legal sector in 2026 faces not complexity, but convergence. 4 simultaneous challenges that share a common solution. Here is the insight I want to leave you with this session. Integrated technology investment solves all 4 problems simultaneously. Unified technology platforms eliminates the fragmented systems that cause productivity loss. That is the first problem solved. Those same integrated platforms provide the clean, structured data that successful AI deployments require. That is the second problem solved. Modern cloud architecture enables a security posture that regulators and clients demand. That is the third problem solved. And operational sophistication commands 15 to 25% valuation premiums from pre-investors or enables effective competition as an independent firm. That is the fourth problem solved. These are not 4 separate initiatives with 4 separate budgets. They are one integrated operational transformation. And the financial logic is compelling. A 10% improvement in chargeable time generates £820,000 to £880,000 in additional profit for a 50-lawyer firm. That funds a cybersecurity investment, £50,000 to £75,000 annually. It funds a technology modernisation, approximately 6.5% of revenue. It creates a foundation for AI deployment, and it builds the operational readiness that either attracts PE investment at premium valuation or enables competitive independence. I want to be direct about the timing because I think it is the one thing that firms are most likely to defer, and deferral is the most costly choice available. A firm that begins systematic technology investment in 2026 and follows a 12 to 18 month implementation timeline achieves measurable operational capabilities by late 2027. It then accumulates 2 to 3 years of compounding productivity gains, organisational AI learning, and competitive positioning by 2030. A firm that delays until 2028 begins implementation from a weakened position with talent it has lost to PE-backed competition, market share it has ceded, and opportunities it has missed. It achieves equivalent capabilities by 2029-30 and faces competition who are 4 years ahead on organisational learning and technology sophistication. The leaders of 2026 will be nearly unreachable by 2028. The market is changing. Firms are sorting themselves into AI-enabled and AI-excluded categories, into cyber-resilient and cyber-exposed categories, into PE premium and PE discounted categories. The sorting is happening whether firms recognise it or not. The window for first mover advantage is open. It is narrowing with every quarter. The firms that act decisively now will define competitive standards for the decades ahead. Those that delay will spend that decade attempting to catch up. So what do? I want to make this concrete. Not you need to transform everything, but here's what the next 18 months can look like. In the first 2 months, honest assessment. Measure your actual chargeable time utilisation against the benchmarks. Audit your technology stack and identify integration gaps. Commission an independent cybersecurity assessment, not an internal review, an external one. And define clearly which of the 3 strategic paths I described is right for you and your firm. In months 3 to 6, foundations. This is the unglamorous work that separates successful implementations from failed ones. Data remediation and system integration, cloud migration planning, Cyber Essential Plus certification, and defining the narrow AI use cases, 1 or 2 specific applications that you will pilot. In months 6 to 18, deployment and optimization. unified platform implementation, your AI pilot, staff training and genuine change management, champions in each practice group, not a one-day training day, measurement, reporting and refinement. The budget benchmarks, the market supports 0.6 to 0.9% of revenue on cybersecurity, approximately 6.5% of revenue on technology initiatives overall, ROI visible within 12 to 18 months. And the single most important recommendation I can give you, partner with specialists rather than trying to build internal expertise. MIT research is unambiguous on this point. External implementation expertise dramatically raises success rates. The firms that do this well are not the ones with the largest internal IT teams, they are the ones with the right external partners. The choice is not whether to transform, the choice is whether to lead the transformation or spend the next decade catching up. The firms successfully competing in 26, whether PA-backed, independent acquisitive, or committed to traditional partnership, share one characteristic. They operate as professional businesses, not a collection of individual practices. Professionalism is no longer optional. Quiss has been working extensively with law firms on these challenges since 2004. We are not a generalist IT provider that occasionally works with lawyers. We are a legal sector IT specialist, and everything we have shared today comes from that accumulated experience.